Hey again, gang. It's Dr. Big Ed, your guitar pedal shrink. Today's episode is about something that I was reminded of last night. It was an incident that occurred when I first moved to London, and I had a massive job that I had to do for an orchestra. And I had just purchased a brand new interface, a highly regarded, recommended, touted interface. Made sure it worked before I went, but I only got it like a week before. Took off to London. Got about a quarter of the way through the job. I use a PC. I used to be on a Mac, but you get more computer for your money with a PC, and you can configure it a little more specifically for what you want. I totally understand people that love Macs. Cool. So there was a big Windows update in the spring of 2016, and the interface I was using stopped working. Now, I've been doing this for 30 years. I can take apart a computer and put it back together. I can customize it. I can troubleshoot. I have friends who often call me for Pro Tools help. 90% of the time, it's the drivers. But the updated drivers weren't working. I didn't know what was going on. So I called again, another highly touted, recommended, revered, high-end audio retailer that I bought it from, and they were less than helpful. They were kind of like, oh, we don't know what's wrong. You're kind of on your own. So I pushed it a little bit. They tried to help, but in the end, nothing came of it. So I reached out to the company that manufactured this device, and what they told me was, oh, you shouldn't have done the latest update because our machines aren't compatible with that yet. We don't have the drivers for it yet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, and by the way, 90% of our sales are for Mac users, and we don't really put that much time into PC. And so my response was, well, then you shouldn't be selling these devices to PC people at all, and just sell it to Mac people, because the PC people are just going to be like losing their cookies in frustration. Anyway, they tried to help. Another little thing that occurred during this is it turned out that my machine was registered to somebody else. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, well, somebody had this machine before you, because I gave them the numbers, and they're like, we have that machine registered to somebody else. Went back to the retailer. The retailer's like, no, absolutely not. Nobody, that was a brand new machine. Nobody registered it. I told them the manufacturer said it was registered to somebody else. Round and round and round. It was insane. I lost months of work. I finally I gave up. Oh, the other thing that happened was the power supply to it failed at one point as well. While I'm going through all this, the power supply failed. Now, to the company's credit, they sent me a new power supply all the way from America to London. Very grateful for that. But I really couldn't use this, you know? And the weird thing about this, oh, don't update because you shouldn't have updated, which by the way was an automatic update, you know. But don't update because we're not ready for it yet, is this particular company, when I was registered for this device, would send me marketing emails like every other day. So you can send me marketing emails every other day, but you can't send me an email and tell me not to update because you're not ready yet? Okay, so the point of the story is it doesn't matter who says who's the greatest retailer, they're all the same. They're pretty much all the same. I've stopped recently using a retailer that I've bought from for 25 years for other reasons, but at least they had good customer service. I commend the company that made the interface device for at least trying, but ultimately I had to get rid of it at a loss because it wasn't working. What I ended up doing is, thank God, I brought along my old PreSonus super cheap VS22. It's like a 2-in, 2-out interface. It's not very high end, but it allowed me to get MIDI working. So for the keyboard scoring stuff I was doing for this commission, it allowed me to record my guitars direct in and then use virtual amps later. It allowed me to get the project most of the way there, but I was shut down for like 4 or 5 months from doing that project. It put me in a precarious position with the people who were paying me. It did not endear me to them. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't afford to go buy another interface. When I could afford to buy another interface, what I did do is I bought an RME Fireface 802. And guess what? It's still working like a charm 5 years later, 4 years later. I use it on every session. The converters are amazing. Their software is amazing. They have the best and most stable drivers in the business for both Mac and PC, and their freaking customer support is incredible. Freaking-credible, like off the charts. So the whole point about this is, don't listen to other people or web reviews or even people who you trust. Make sure they're using the same computer you are, they're using the same devices, they're using it for the same purpose, and they've put it through the ringer for at least over a year. Now, there's nothing against this device. I know that the device I bought is super cool. It comes with its own set of plugins that are amazing, amazing. I loved them while I had them, and I went to NAMM and confronted them about it politely. And they were like, yeah, just sorry, we're just not really PC company. Okay, don't sell them. So, point is, make sure you've got a stable device for the type of computer you're running, the type of software you're running that's been tested and proven, and more importantly, you buy from somebody who's gonna back up the sale, and that you buy from a company that has amazing customer support and backs up their product. And like RME does, they update it constantly, right? I've already updated the firmware, I think twice in the last 4 years, and the drivers a few times. Every time Pro Tools changes drastically, a month later they're on it, because it does take some time, but they're on it. I love RME. I love all the people there. I love the people in England. I love the people in Germany, the people here in America who do customer support. They're all top notch. So I don't care if you buy RME or not. That's not the point here. The point is, find people like that who care about you and their product and what you're doing and aren't going to hang you up, because it's your butt on the line if you're doing this professionally, if you're trying to make money off of it. All right? All right. So again, there's a ton of retailers out there. Do your research, make sure it's right for you, and make sure they're going to back it up on all ends of the equation, because there will be a time when you need it. All right? Dr. Big Ed signing out.